In this video, we'll be remodeling our old closet, and I'll show you how we went from this to this. Stay tuned. Now, I didn't end up recording it, but we did install new hardwood floors, removed all the old racking to get us a clean slate. We built our closet online at Ikea, and I'll show you guys the details at the end of this video, but here's a general overview. We also wanted to get rid of all the yellow, so we ended up painting the closet gray. We also wanted to raise the cabinets 4 inches, so I built a 2x4 frame so the cabinets could sit on top. This would also allow us later to add in 6-inch baseboards from the cabinets to the floor. We began by assembling the cabinets just to give us a feel for the overall size in the room. I also wanted to ensure that the cabinet was sitting flush up against the frame, just so that the baseboard would install much easier. I also wanted to add a support base at the bottom of every cabinet just to make sure that the weight was evenly distributed. Now that the base was complete, I wanted to grab a test piece of baseboard just to ensure that the height was good and everything fit according to plan. And one thing that we wanted to do with this closet was to use fabric backing on the back of the cabinets. We did not like the IKEA split backing, so we decided to add material to the back, as you see here. We went to our local fabric store, picked out a design we liked, and we rolled it out on the back. Then we used a stapler to secure it in place. Now we did this all the way around the cabinets, and we cut off any excess fabric that was sticking out of the back. And the final product looks something like this. Now we repeated this for all 8 of our cabinets. If you choose a fabric with a repeating design, I would strongly suggest that you center it before you start stapling. This will ensure that there's no obvious deviation from the back of the cabinet. Even though most of it will be covered up by clothes, we did not want to see any variation in the cabinet or it be slightly off center. And once we finished installing 8 of the backings, we decided to put everything in the closet just to see how it would fit. That's when the inspector came, just to see how we were doing. With the green light from the inspector, we decided to continue on and build the rest of the drawers, so we could assemble them into the cabinets. And with all the drawers done, here's how the closet started to shape up. We also installed a couple shoe racks, but quickly realized they did not fit into our design, so we replaced them with these. Since we were installing LED strips on the top, we also decided to choose glass for the top shelves. This would allow the light to penetrate through the shelves, and we returned the wooden shelves we originally purchased. Next, we needed to install the rods for the clothes. And the clips so that we can install the glass shelves that we additionally purchased. We also purchased the accessory inserts that IKEA offered with the closets. This was a great place to put my utility knife for future use. Now, since IKEA was sold out of most of the inserts, I had to make my own just to make up the space that we had in the closet. So I ripped down some wood and built my own. After a quick test fit, it was off to paint. We also cut the lining so that we would pad the bottom of it to match the others. I also cut a couple inserts to add as dividers. Now, one thing we didn't like is the hardware that was visible at the bottom of the cabinets, so we bought these stickers off of Amazon. It did wonders to cover up every single piece of hardware that was inside the cabinet. You can see here, it's a quick peel and stick and hides most of the hardware. We also had an old chandelier that we wanted to redo, so I ended up painting it the same gold as I did for that insert. I was also hoping to install crown at the top of the cabinets, but since the cabinets were not thick enough, I had to add an extra piece of wood, which would help support the crown when I nailed it to the wood. Ikea also sells white paint, so before installing the crown, we decided to throw a couple coats of paint just to help match the cabinets. Once installed, I covered up the holes with Drydex, let it dry, and sanded it smooth. Now these cabinets also had these small pinholes at the top, so I took the time to cover them up with Drydex as well. This would help smooth and blend the top. Now since there was a gap between the cabinets and the crown, I decided to use some Alex Plus to cover up the gap. Now since we didn't like to see the 1,000 holes that Ikea puts in their cabinets, we decided to buy the plugs and cover them all up. Once that was done, it was time to install the baseboards. We also bought handles to match the golden backing. We decided to build a template to make drilling and screwing the handles much easier. In order to cover up the gap between the two cabinets, I decided to install trim. This would make the closet look like it was one-piece design. After glue, I decided to pin nail it just to make sure that it was secure until the glue dried. Finish it off, I added the same trim to the outside closet that made it up with the wall. Once we were done with the trim, we covered up the holes again with Drydex and topped it off with one more coat of paint. And here is the final result.